aficionados who always wanted to know what the MK Overdrive from Victory sounds like. I wanted to know what the MK Overdrive from Victory sounds like, because it's enticing. It's a daunting video that I gotta make. What does an amp for 5,300, 5,400 euros sound like? Without the cap, that's just the head. Why so? And is this just like some Dumble clone? Because it looks boutiquey and all that stuff? We're gonna answer all these questions. One of them right now, no, it's not. It's actually unlike any amp out there. It's pretty damn unique. They had me spec this out in a video, and everything on this is custom. The visuals, the leather, the corners, the front panel, what grill you want. You can even get this grill in the same leather as maybe even different leathers, could also be, as the amp. And do you want this in black, or actually this is full on metal, all this is all customizable. Quick word on the customization. I highly recommend, if you're gigging this. I mean, are you gigging an amp for $5,400? Maybe you've got the cash lying around, you don't give a shit. Okay, fine. But if you are gigging it, I highly recommend not going for the leather options. The leather options are amazing, and there's so many beautiful ones. But it is a bit not sturdy. It'll get dirty quickly. There are Tolex options, but we're going to get into all of that. First, let's take it out of the box and see how this thing came. It's ridiculous. The price is high, but the experience from ordering it to getting it to unboxing to playing, everything is on the highest level of any amp that I've ever had. So let's do that. And as always, before we get to anything else, you want to hear some sounds? Let's hear some sounds. Here's some beautiful product shots and sounds. So, is this actually an amp that works? A stupid question, but how does it work in a musical context? And what musical context? I mean, any boutique amp you think, John Mayer, you think Edge of Breakup, Clean, Dumble, which are, for some reason, that's where we think high-end amps are. And you couldn't be more wrong with this. But also, you're right. So the track that I produced is kind of along those lines. But later on, I have a track that is really not what you expect, also recorded with this. So the range of this amp is ridiculous. Let's go and hear the MK Overdrive song. Also, that Fibonacci is rather nice, right? So now that we got all of that out of the way, I don't even know where to start with this. You saw it in the unboxing. You get the cap, which I told them spec it with the speakers that you think are the best. I think something, is it Gold Alnico or something? I don't even know. I don't know what speakers are in there. It's the ones that they thought are the ones that pair best with this amp. And it is finicky when it comes to speaker selection, I'll tell you. So I'll trust Victory to voice it correctly. In order not to put dents in the leather, it comes when you order it in conjunction with the cab, with this beautiful Perspex plate with Victory on it, so that when you have the amp on it, you're not denting the leather. And you'd think, I mean, come on, how easily can you dent it? Very easily. For about a minute, when I had it in my office, I put one of the Fryette power stations on there for a minute. And it doesn't even rest on it firmly because the handle is too big. So it was just leaning on it. And look at this up here. That's the mark that doesn't go away anymore. So the leather is really nice. And I already suggested to them, please make a Perspex plate for the top as well, so that I can put pedals on it or power stations or whatever, which is, likely. But that's a bummer. It's my brand new amp. It's very expensive and it's already messed up. So I'm telling you, if you're going to gig this, put Tolex on it. It's a lot more sturdy than the leather, but the leather is super nice and it comes in beautiful color options. I love the aluminum metal plate in the front. It is harder to film because it's very reflective. You can also, I think, get this in black. All the options are yours. But that's just visuals. What about the sound? What about the features? What is this? It's really tough to say. Well, a couple of other things. What you saw in the unboxing, it really blew my mind. These covers are included. I mean, at that price point, yeah, you kind of would hope so, right? Pretty neat. Comes for the head as well. And again, all included. As is, the certificate of authenticity with the serial number, hand signed, all that. A gold-plated manual, all that. The foot switch, the way it came packed, the weight is super solid, amazing. The Neutrik equipped dual TRS cable, all of it is of the highest grade, which you pay for and you freaking deserve when you spend that much money. So what is the MK Overdrive? There's an MK Clean, can't tell you what that is. I called it Mark, but that's wrong. It's MK as in Martin Kidd, the guy behind the Victory amps. Martin was also the guy behind Cornfoot. Now, I never had the honor of playing in Cornfoot, but I heard extremely good things. Richie Kotzen was one of their players, and I saw Richie live here with his band years ago, and all he had for the whole night was a one-channel Cornfoot, his telly, his fingers, and a volume knob. And it did everything from clean to the most screaming leads. It was an exercise in simplicity and amazingity. And people ask Martin, well, can you do something that's like an MK50, I think, whatever that, I think that's what it was called, or one of those Cornfoot amps. And he put some of that in there, but when you have an amp designer like Martin Kidd, and you let him be the kid in a playground and just say, do everything. Kid and candy store, go and whatever you want to do. Whatever the price tag is in the end, that's what we're going to ask for it. So, hand-wired, made in England, 100 watts. I think this thing has 6L6s. Other tubes, there's smaller ones up in there too. I don't know that stuff. Can't tell you about any of these things. It's in the back, I don't even know if you can see that. Yeah, big-ass tubes, small, whiny tubes, Victory labeled transformators. What do I know? It makes noise. Good noise. The finest of the finest, no holds barred. Let's build it, and they will come. And if they don't come, at least we built it and we have the best amp that Martin ever built. That's the idea. And yet again, you would think, yeah, look at the shape. That's not a Marshall thing. This is very boutiquey. Meaning, clean, stumbles, overdrives, all that. Fuck no. The clean channel. Let's look at it here for a second. So, right now I've got the foot switch, so you would flip it up. We're on the clean. These beautiful purple lights, which have these really cool rims around them that from the side you can't see anything, from the front very seeable. Also big purple light here. I love that. This is off preheat, so it's standby and on all in one switch, as Victory usually has. We have a volume. We have, very interestingly, treble, middle, bass, whereas on the gain channel we have bass, middle, treble. Someone explained that to me because that's just weird as fuck. Clean level, so that's your volume, and then presence and resonance, so power amp, treble and bass, technically, for the clean channel, and then the master volume for the whole thing. Also, we have a clean voice, and that is very important because it's pretty damn different on that channel. If you want something that you're more familiar with, let's stay in the up position. I'm someone who will approach an amp and pretty much say, well, we're going to keep everything at noon. That's where it has its sound. And I don't really want to go and really drastically take something to zero or full blast. But the amp kind of asks you to do that sometimes. So we're going to start around here when we'll start there, okay? In the voice lower, or the down setting, that clean channel has mids. Attacky, ploppy, mids only almost. It is definitely not a deluxe reverb. It doesn't have the top-end chime of a Vox. It has no clean channel than any other amp that I know of. Meaning when you're working on a song and you're like, well, I know what I need. I need that kind of deluxe reverb. I need the Voxy. Like the amp doesn't give you this. You have to learn the amp and find out new parts, new music to create with these sounds, because they are not what you're used to when it comes to the clean. Okay? As we will see. So channel down, I'll do this here, will get us to gain 1. And there are 2 different gains. And you can set it up that the 2 volumes, volume 1 and 2, automatically, let's see, switch with the gain 1 and 2, or you can set it up in the back with a little flippy switch right there, that both of them go to volume 1, and then on the foot switch, there's an overdrive volume 1 and 2, and you can then see that doesn't do anything right now because I don't have it set up that way. Then you can actually go to like your solo volume, for example, and switch the 2 volumes. Very, very simple one switch option, but it does something cool. Either you've got 2 volumes or independent volumes for the 2 gain. Gain 1, gain 2. Gain 1 really picks up where the clean leaves off. The clean it switches up where the clean stops, the gain 1 starts. Words, English hard. And then anything crunchy, Marshall without being Marshall, that kind of sound. And then gain 2, holy crap, it's got gain on tap, which you wouldn't think an amp like this would have. Bass metal treble, volume 1, volume 2 we covered. And again, resonance and presence and resonance for the gain channel. And yet again, a voicing switch for that gain side. So you have 2 different kind of sounds, not foot switchable. There's no tremolo, there's no reverb in the back. Debiasing stuff, plug in your thing over there. You've got outputty things for speakers. The cap says 16 ohm on it, so I plugged it into 16 ohm. Then you've got that little switch for the volume. Plug in your foot switches. Cable comes with it. And effects loop, that's it. And that is serial, which on the foot switch here, I can engage and disengage. For the setup, let's go into this. We have an effects loop. No, what is it called? We have an effects board, a pedal board. There are pedals on the board. Let's call it a pedal board. With a tuner, a tube screamer. It's a green pedal from Ibanez. An archer, which is a clonny thing. A power supply from Chox. The Galaxy tapey delay. And a looper, which we're not going to use because I used it for leveling. And that's going into the front of the amp. In the effects loop, we've got the trusty TC Electronic 2290p, which is on. And it's only on once I engage the effect bypass on the included pedal. What you're hearing is the cab with speakers that I can't remember what they put in there, but they're good ones. Sennheiser MD421 compact, slightly off center from the cone. Slightly more off center, the R92 ribbon mic from AEA right there. Should be phase aligned. And then in the room about 1.20 meters away is the AEA R88A, a stereo ribbon, which should, in all that ridiculous combination, give us the most realistic sound the way that you would experience it. And I know it's a lot of talking, but it's also a lot of amp. And before we now get to the sounds, we're getting there, with this guitar and another one, brand new strings, the Dario X's. I'll bias you. What is this? What's special about it? And I had a talk with Martin Kidd and his team. Hello, team. Because an amp in this price range, who buys that? Who the crap buys that? This is like $7,000 right here. Who buys that? The dentist, the blues lawyer. And they usually I'm sorry to the dentist or blues lawyer, but they'll play fifth position pentatonic slowly, badly. Bendy, bendy, badly. I know that's not fair, but they usually don't have the time to practice. I don't have time to practice. That's why I do fifth position pentatonic slowly, bendy, bendy, badly. But the person that buys this technically needs an amp that helps them, not that exposes them for what they are. And what this amp does, it exposes you for what you are. It is so brutally honest. It is so direct. It is so revealing. It doesn't matter what voicings you play, every note's there. It doesn't matter how much gain you have. The attack is so sharp. The top end is revealing. Everything is so clear. It's not easy to play. It is an amp that requires a more experienced player. It's not an easy amp. It doesn't help you. It actually shows you the player you have to be because it makes you a better player. Hopefully. So it's not an amp that's helping the dentist sound really good at home and, brag to his girlfriend how cool he is. No, it'll show to his girlfriend that he still needs to practice. And also, what I found out, very weirdly, that running it through a load box into IRs, it is voiced in a way that a lot of IRs or cab simulation sounds boxy and weird. When I run it through the cab, everything's fine. But it has some kind of frequency response that's tough to run through simulated equipment. Not saying you can't do it, but the settings I usually had, 1960 Marshall cab, 412, 57 and a ribbon, didn't do it. My standard settings didn't do it. I actually had to work. So you have to work on the instrument. You have to know what you're doing and then still work a bit harder. Recording it, you still have to work a bit harder because it is so honest. It is so revealing that it makes you work. It's not a beginner amp, I would say. You should still buy it because it's fun. And here we go. This is, of course, my Shabbat Lynx. I always want to say Lion, but the Lion is the Telly. It's a fabulous guitar. You, of course, I have to point that out. You can get that amp at Anderton's because we all know now that Lee Anderton has a stake in victory. Everyone knew that way, way, way before anyone talked about that. Of course, that was clear. And that's not a bad thing at all. And I'm saying that because you can also get the Shabbat guitars at Anderton's. So if you got the Moolah, maybe get this and get one of these. And then you can get these sounds that you are hearing here if you also get those mics. And here we go. Clean channel. Flippity switch up. That's not the clean channel. That is the clean channel. Obviously, that's a bit boring. We kick in the Galaxy. Maybe you can hear some of that honkiness already, that mid-focus and the attack, but right here is when we flip that down. This super midzy. It's a beautiful sound, but it's not what I expected from the amp. Now, of course, we can take those mids down all the way. Let's crank up a little bit of bass and treble here. I wouldn't do that on that setting, honestly. I would go to the other one, which is a little bit more like we know it, and then do that there, and maybe get into Fendery territory again. But if you want a deluxe reverb and you got that much money, just buy a freaking deluxe reverb. I could play those sounds all day long. Just crank the mids up. So that's kind of the frequency response, but exaggerated. So imagine that, but lesser. That's kind of the clean sound of the amp. And this super attacky, the words attack. Now, how much gain can we get out of the clean channel? None. It stays stable with a lift that's difficult to say. It stays stable all the way through. Let's push a tube screamer into that. again, we've got that very pronounced mid-range, which we can soften a bit by going to the other voicing. Klar? You can do quite a bit with just these two pedals and the clean channel, but of course you're not here just for the clean channel because it says MK Overdrive. So I'm gonna kick in the Chanel number 5. That's a perfume joke, and we are now on voicing down, gain 1. We lost a bit of low end. We added a bit of high mid bite and even top end. It's a variation on the clean, let's say, at this point. Flippity the switch. Same thing, thins out the mid. So if you wanted to, you could set that up as an alternative clean channel. Why would you buy an MK Overdrive in the frickin' name if you don't want to overdrive? It's got that bite, that attack, that reveals so much about your playing. Kicking the drip screamer. You might already have guessed it, these are sounds that are so direct and enunciated that this is a professional amp for professional players to put in professional mixes where you have to do fuck all. Excuse my Belgian. None of it. It's not too much low end. the bite that I would want to bring out with EQs, it already has. It's not the most pleasant right there because it's got that bite, but it is mix-ready amplage. Now this is an ideal gent amp, even though according to John Brown that's not a style that exists. But it is because everything is there and so defined and so immediate, but also all the notes. And that's how Richie Kotzen could do the whole evening with one channel, because he played that cornfort, which is a great-grandfather to this. Kick in the tube screamer? Hell yeah. Those parts, it's so freaking defined, it's ridiculous. It does challenge you to play better and more precisely. That was with a tube screamer on that gain 1 channel. That mid push will get you more gain. Can we do something with a EQ here? I guess we can. it can make it sound bad. There's your mid-staffed sound. If you really want to do that, you can. How much bass do we have? Really doesn't need a lot more definition. So the EQ does do quite a bit. The EQ does do, that rhymes. And yes, there is a gain too. With its extra volume. Let's change guitars. Nik Huber Krauster III. It's a rather decent guitar. I mean, it's what you would pair with something like that, right? So here's the gain channel really quick. Oh, it's got a lot more output. Holy crap, that kicks that amp's ass. Dynamic? Does it react to your playing? Do you really feel like it's alive? Yes. That is a level of excellence when it comes to interactivity. Look, modeling and profiling does not give you that. It just doesn't. No matter what they tell you, it doesn't. hear that precision? It makes me work. With amps from other companies, you might need something like a booster, a to-be screamy, something Horizon to thin out the low end to make it less woofy, to make it more responsive. Fuck that. You don't need that here. I'm not even going to turn on the tube screamer because that's asinine. This amp just has, tell me a style that this can't do. I mean, what? Is this not enough here? Utterly redonkulous. Now, of course, you're going to say, yeah, but Henning, I'm playing a 7-string, and I have loads of cash to drop on an amp. What about that? I'm going to go further than that. I'm going to go 8-string dropped to E. Using the Digitech hammer-on pedal, I recorded a track with this amp on that channel. Guitar was in drop D. I went down a minor 7th. Which means we landed on a low E on an 8-string guitar. That is very low, and it's still responsive and cutting through. And I will play you that whole thing because, I mean, you've made it this far, might as well watch a fun song with the Victory MK Overdrive.
I am playing a 6-string, but it sounds like
you're back. I could do this for days. I think we needed an in-depth video of this because whoever spends this much cash on an amp should know not everything, because I think there's still depth to be explored here, but should know a lot. Now, this amp is not like any other amp. The clean channel is not a boutique clean in the style of a Fender Champ, Tweed, Deluxe Reverb, Vox, or Dumble. It's a Martin Kit clean. It's an MK Overdrive clean. It has this attacky, ploppy, durchsetzungsfähig is the German word. It comes through the mix. It has the ability to shine through. And because of its directness, requires you to know what the fuck you're doing. But that also means it's unique. So if you want that clean, that's the amp you gotta buy. I mean, you can because it's freaking ridiculously expensive. But if you could, and you like that, and you don't want the 10th variation of something we already know, this isn't it. This is unique. Now the Gain 1 has all the bite, all the grizzle, all the top-end ickiness to make you freaking rock, but it also makes you articulate because your rhythm will be revealed. And then the leads. They sing, yes. Do they cream? Yes, to a degree. Are they cutting through the mix? Yes. Are you hearing every single thing you do? Yes. Can you dial back and get less of it? Yes. But is it a 5150 sound? Nope. It's not muddy like that. It doesn't have that saturation. It's got gain, but not that saturation. It's got clarity. Is it a rectifier sound? Hell no. You don't need freaking low-end cutties in front of it. It is clear all by itself. Is it a ref? Hell no, a ref's a ref. That's not a ref. This is an MK Overdrive, which is so hard to find nowadays. Everything is some kind of reminiscent of. Is it Plexi? Nope. Don't feel that. Is it JCM 800? Nope. Oh, well then, Henning, what is it, you ask? It says it right there. It's a Victory MK Overdrive. It's, honestly, they're not paying me for this video. Yes, I got the amp. Okay, fine. So I got really paid. Absolutely. This is not why I say this. You heard it. It is not at all what I expected. I expected them to go the route of let's make a boutique amp like everyone else. But it is really not that. It is the vision of a seasoned amp designer, Martin Kidd, who wanted to build his amp with his voicing. Whether or not people will buy this, who gives a shit? This is a man's vision and dream. Because it is not reminiscent of something, when you're working with it, you might not know at first what to use it for. Okay, I'm going to set this up to do like the rectifier drop D thing. I'm going to set this up to do my clean voxy thing, like we usually do, especially when we work with modelers. But this is not the amp that does that. This is the amp that you got to get to know, that you got to get to play. It teaches you how to play in ways. And once you know, you're going to be rewarded with sounds that likely nobody else has. Nobody else nobody has sound like that. That's my findings. It's very unique, makes you work, and obviously beautifully built. But if you want to gig it, I messed it up. Don't put shit on it. Don't get it with Tolex. If you're using that for your studio or for home, get it with the beautiful leather. But don't put shit on top of it. They might listen to me and actually make a perspex for the top. I mean, it's a tool. Do I need something to protect my amp? You decide. That's it from here. I will use this. You will see it. And I will cherish it because it's damn amazing. I'll put links below. Please use them. You can buy these, order these from shops. Sweetwater has them, Thomann has them, Andertons has them. Subscribe to the channel, please, as always, all that stuff. You know, like and subscribe, the things YouTubers say. Animals at the end.